done by my new sidekick, Titus Muncie. Say hi, Titus.
Hey, what's up?
So yeah, Gabe won't be with us anymore. He has decided to follow his dream and study the migration and mating habits of the North American fox squirrel. I wish him the best of luck and be safe out there.
Yeah, it's really respectable that he's taking such a risk. There's just like such little research being done about squirrels, and he's just braving it out there. So just really
They
respect
are,
him a lot.
yeah, I think we only know maybe 0.5% of what we know about the rest of our natural world.
Yep.
But all,
Sure,
all right.
whatever you say.
Yeah. Does that statistic even mount up? Anyways. All right, so yeah, Titus will be joining us from now on. And all right, so Titus, I'm going to talk to you about a story that I've heard about. I've heard about this for a while, and I've been trying to think of a good way to introduce it because it's really, really strange. But I think you'll have fun dissecting it. It's called 11, kind of
Okay.
like the movie 7.
Okay.
So, 11 years, 11 diaries, 11 deaths, July 2018. A small town called Berea. There are 11 deaths of one entire family. The whole family died in a strange case that no one has been able to figure out even to this day. Back to the beginning. The day starts off with his name is Gurcharan Singh. He is waiting for his good buddy Lilat Chawat. Good gosh.
It's just power through it. I mean,
all right,
you're not gonna. Yeah. Just
Anyway, so
just
he's waiting
make the
there.
disclaimer. You don't speak.
I don't speak Indian. I'm sorry, everyone. I know. Where's my culture? All right. So, anyways, Gurcharan is waiting for his friend Liat to go on a daily walk. They've been doing this their entire life. This is just something kind of a little get them ready for the day. It's kind of a little meditative. Like, all right, I'm zenned out. Let's go do our
How
daily
old is
grind.
this dude? Gretchen or Gretchen or
Gurcharan?
Gurcharan?
He is, I believe, like 50 years old.
50?
Mhm.
Okay.
So he's a full grown man.
Yeah.
He's a man. Same thing for Lilat. He's a full grown man. But anyway, so he's waiting for his friend to show up so they can go walking through the park, talk about the day, be like, oh my gosh, my wife, she made this vindaloo and she burnt it again. Ready to go on the walk. He waits and it's very strange to him because his friend, this is ritualistic. They go on this all the time. So
Right.
he's looking at his watch for what feels like the 100th time. It's like 6:50, and he's like, he's not here yet. He's like, well, I'll wait till 7 o'clock and then I'll leave. 7 o'clock comes and he's like, yeah, I'll give him 5 more minutes. 7:05 hits and he's like, well, I don't know what's up, but it's starting to rain down pretty hard. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. He leaves. And on his way to work, he passes his friend's work, and he figured, I'll pop in and see if everything's okay.
Right.
When he pops in, he realizes that the store is not open, which startles him a lot because this guy never misses work. It is open. That store is opened at 6 o'clock every day. So he sees that his friend's not there, and he's like, well, I'm going to go to the house and check on him.
And this is like Lalat's store? Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is his grocery store.
Yeah.
So he goes to Lilat's house, knocks on the door. No one answers. Knocks one more time, a little bit harder. No one answers. Jiggles the door. Door opens up. He opens up the door.
First of all, I would never walk into a house. I would immediately call the police. Like, there's clearly something wrong. You do not want to be the person to walk in and see something that's going to like scar
All I'm
your
going to
life
say is
forever.
this. You're thinking too meta about this. You're a good friend, and you're like, all right, I haven't heard anything, let me just pop inside and see if everyone's there, make sure that the scene's okay. It's his good friend. He's known him for many, many years.
Yeah, that still wouldn't do it. If I didn't hear from you or Josh, and both of your cars were there, and the door was unlocked, and I like yelled in and no one answered, I don't know. Maybe I would come in, but
Maybe that's just how it's done in India. Maybe they're just like,
I mean, it's
"Hello."
no. A lot of people do that. I mean, it's not. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, hey, that's lifetime worthy film right there. Every lifetime woman. Well, no one answers. I guess I'll just go inside of this.
yeah,
witch's
exactly.
house."
I'm like, you're just asking for trouble, regardless of whether the killer's still there or not. You're gonna be like fucked up for life. So
Of course. Well, that's exactly what happened to him. He opens up the door. It creaks open, and he sees the most haunting sight he has ever seen. He sees 10 of them, 10 of the family members, hanging by their necks in a circular formation. He drops to his knees and just screams out in agonizing pain, alerting the neighbors. The neighbors run over to check on him. They see the horrifying view, and finally they call the cops. And by 7:30, the cops show up. The first thought, the cops...
So like circular formation. So are they like
think of a circle. Bam.
like looking at each other?
I believe so. But then again, they're hanging, so they might have spun around.
Yeah. That's creepy.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all hanging in a circular formation. The cops show up and immediately they're like, "Oh, it must have been a murder and then a robbery." Well, that doesn't make sense because all of their belongings are here. Not only are their belongings here, but they still have valuables and cash in their pockets.
Right.
So they're like, all right, well, maybe it was a mass suicide. But even still, they thought there had to have been foul play because the way they were hanging suggests that there was a third party there. Their hands were tied. Their hands were tied behind their backs. Their heads were wrapped in a material cut from the same sheet of cloth. Also, they were blindfolded and their mouths were taped shut and their ears plugged with cotton wool.
Okay.
Just picture that in your head, just all mummified up, tied up.
Yeah. So
Terrifying.
all of their hands are tied behind their back.
Mm-hmm.
So someone had to have tied their hands together, obviously.
That's what it sounds like.
And put the stuff
Grandma,
on their head and all that. I mean, I guess you could like technically like put cotton in your ears and like do all that kind of stuff, but you couldn't tie your hands behind your back on your own.
unless they were just super flexible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe.
Like bound your hands like in the front, like using your teeth, like got the knot, and then bring it over and put your each leg through your arm.
Oh, right, right.
I can't do it because my fat belly gets in the way.
I don't think I could do that either.
Upon further inspection of the house, they found that Grandma was in a nearby room and had been strangled to death. Further investigation of the house proved that the kitchen was all set and prepared to start breakfast. They had seasonings, they had food, they had recipes, everything was set out,
But they hadn't finished. They hadn't cooked breakfast.
It's like they didn't start. She's like, hey, let's...
Just like all the prep.
let's do something real quick. Let's do a little...
Let's kill ourselves instead.
prayer, yeah. Let's do a little... Let's build a cloth swing and swing from our necks. Whee! Strengthens the neck muscles. Anyway, so kitchen's all set. Friends and family said they were way too happy and happy-go-lucky family to commit suicide. It was questioned how 11 people could all decide, hey, let's all commit suicide. I mean, of course, there's Jonestown, but, that's something different. They questioned if the family even decided at all, but then they found that through a local CCTV security camera,
right,
they found footage of the family moving, like, stools and rope into the building the night before. Almost like they were preparing.
Different members of the family, not just one person.
Yes, it was different members of the family.
Huh.
So, had the family moving in, all this rope and cloth and stuff. They also found 11 diaries were found by each member of the family. They had been keeping a diary for several years. But the most terrifying... the diaries were an inside look at the family members, especially Lilot. His was the most terrifying. The notes showed the family's dark secret that the community did not know about, and it also showed the family's descent into madness.
So every person kept a diary in the family.
All 11
That's
people.
always so weird to me. Have you kept a diary for like?
Fuck no. Are you kidding me? I did it once.
I mean, yeah, I remember when I was like really young, I tried to keep a journal, like a daily journal, but it never lasted more than like
Of course. It started when you were a little
three
kid.
entries.
Dear diary, I got my first downstairs hairs. Don't know what to do now.
Help me, someone.
It's just all these like awkward sexual things. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you had no one to talk about, so you just wrote it in your journal, right? So I guess that's what these weirdos did.
Apparently, that's what they did. I would just go in the woods and kick down dead trees.
But for like how many years were they keeping these journals?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
11 years.
Really? Each person 11 years?
11, 11, 11.
Okay. Go on.
All right. So, like I said, and so we're going to go to the beginning. We're going to go back to when the family had actually...
Is this like some Memento shit? We're going to like flash around and like...
No. Good God, Memento. God, good luck keeping up with that. We're going.
Hey, that's a good movie.
It's a great movie, but like that would be a terrible podcast.
Yeah. That'd be kind of tricky.
Sorry, everyone. That was Kim Possible ringtone.
Yeah, don't silence your phone before you start the podcast.
My bad. Anyways, sorry, everyone. That was not very professional. So it all started. The family had moved from Rajasthan and Delhi in 1989. Bhopal Singh was a family man who had a good amount of land, and he had grazing cattle, which he sold so that they could move to Barari. When they moved to Barari, he took his wife, Niranya, and their son, Lilat. Now, before they moved, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that he had 5 children with this woman. He had 3 sons, Bhuvanesh, Dinesh, and Lalit, and he had 2 daughters, Patriba and Sajada. Bhopal took Nirari and Liat to Barari. Good gosh.
I'm keeping up. Keep going. Come on.
I know, but I'm hearing it in my head, and this just sounds like nonsense. Dude, while I was writing these names down, at one point, one of the names is so long that I thought I was writing a sentence. Like, my fingers just kept going. I had to look up a couple of times. But anyways, so he took his wife and his son, and they moved to Barari and set up a small business selling plywood. The other 4 children decided to stay behind, but of course, once again, I say children, they were in their early to late 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and they were wanting to stay behind. They're like, hey, we're going to focus on our careers over here, so you guys go live your lives, and, maybe we'll see you, maybe we won't.
Right.
In 1993, Bunvesh and Patriba moved in with the family, bringing their families along with them. So it was a big house.
Okay.
It was, one might say it was a full house. Whatever happened to do? Don't know the words. Just move on. Sorry. Really embarrassed. We can edit that out.
I actually never watched Full House. I missed a lot of that stuff because my parents were like super strict Christians, so like I just didn't watch.
My parents were too.
I mean, I don't feel like I missed it, but yeah, I don't get the cultural references.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. I mean, you missed the shock and awe to seeing what's his name, Bob Saget is that like in real life. You're like, oh, what a sweet family guy, and then he's like, grandma's pussy's dry. It's like, what the hell?
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude, he's super dirty.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he has to like break the stereotype of that show somehow. You know what I mean? It was such a big hit.
I think he was just like that before, and they were like, "Can you play like somebody not like that?" Apparently, he said like a really perverted joke, and like one of the Olsen twins like overheard it, like traumatized him a little bit. Like, what is wrong with you?
I could see that being a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so they moved there. their other two more of their children move in with them. They're bringing their family. Over the next 10 years, as many as 12 people are living under that roof, and the family's financial and social strengths just kept growing. Everything was going good. But Paul was a good man, but ruled over his family with an iron fist and with a dictatorial control. So his word was law. You know, if he told you to do something, you had to do it exactly the way he said it.
That's familiar. Yeah, I've experienced that.
Or else he's hitting you with a bag of Alabama peaches. It'll show him who's boss, but it won't leave a bruise.
What? Where did that come from?
My brain. You ever hit someone with a peach? It hurts, but it doesn't leave a mark. I threw a peach at someone once.
What are you Okay.
It's about to get dark, so we need to laugh a little bit. It's about to get dark.
It's already dark. There's people hanging in a circle in a room. That's creepy.
With their faces covered.
I mean, that's
Grandma's strangled
pretty
in the other room.
normal for their faces to be covered because when, like...
I've never heard of a hanging that way where you wrap up your face.
No, everyone always has their face wrapped when they're hung because your eyes can like bulge out and it's like it can be really bad if your neck doesn't snap right away. Well, yeah,
if it's like an execution style like killing, like unless everyone wants to see it, maybe you're a bad guy.
I mean, I would say like most suicides you probably don't put a bag over your head because there's no one there to like.
That's just weird that they did it, but
yeah.
Anyway, so bunch of people living in this house. Dad's a dictator. He's Kim Jong-un, telling them what to do. The family was extremely obedient. Obedient. Gosh, slurring my words. I'm not even drunk. He said the success of this family depended on him, which. Yeah, kind of true. It's a little bit true. After he passed away in mid-2007, family took a turn for the worse. He died of respiratory illness, and the family's fortune went down, and they were struggling to keep afloat. His youngest son, Lalit, he took his father's death the hardest, but he had some other issues. One of his issues, it sprung from him. He was working at the plywood store, and some guys came in and robbed the place, and they buried him under a pile of plywood, stole all the money, and then they set the pile on fire. He was able to escape, almost unharmed, but it caused him to become a super introvert. And it caused him to lose his voice.
He just like became mute.
He became Ariel from The Little Mermaid. For one moment he's and next moment he's like,
yikes.
Yeah.
And how long before all this did that happen?
So that happened 3 years before the father passed away.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, gotcha. So
yeah.
All right.
He didn't speak for about 3 years, and he didn't speak until after his father's death on a 10-day-long prayer called the Garuda Purana. Probably butchered that, but oh well, moving on. Suddenly, he started chanting with everyone, and at first, it was his first time to speak in 3 years. Family was all like, what the heck? Like, he's talking again.
Right.
Cool, but terrifying. What the heck? As soon as he started talking, immediately the rest of the family began to chant and reply, "Father has returned." Yeah. He pulled a Mufasa. Papa's back.
So, wait. Why are they saying Father's back? Ooh. They're like, think he's demon possessed.
You hold down, little baby bird. Mama's gonna feed you. It's just gonna take a little time. I won't leave you hungry. So of course they chant, Father has returned. They believed that their father was back and was channeling himself through Lilat.
Huh. Okay.
The community noticed a change in the family's dynamic, especially the mental and physiological state of them and their household. There was a paradigm shift. Things were happening. Strange things.
Strange things are happening to me.
I'm the one who busted
Let me
the song.
tell you about strange
What is that?
things.
Is that a country song?
It's from Toy Story, I think.
Not from Toy Story.
It's definitely from some Disney movie. Tweet at us if you know what that's from. I think it's I really think it's Toy Story, like the original one.
I don't know. I don't remember.
The OG.
I'm going to go back and rewatch them before this next new Toy Story, so we'll find out soon.
Oh, there's another one coming out?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but it looks pretty good. They haven't let us down yet. But anyway, so things are starting to get weird. Lilat actually told his customers at the plywood store that his father visited him in a dream and asked him to perform a puja.
A puja.
A puja. An act of worship to God, spirit, or other aspect of the divine. They asked him, other aspect of the divine through invocation, prayers, songs, or a ritual.
So his dad comes to him in the middle of the night. It's like, yo.
You know, he's shaking chains like, respect me!
So supposedly this festival that they went to was like the thing that conjured him or whatever. Like it was the ritual.
this wasn't a festival. This was just like after the death. Apparently, this is like kind of a common thing for them to do. It's just like 10 days of prayer, like
right? Yeah,
really focusing on that family member and praying, hey, let their soul be taken to whatever
find
God
nirvana.
Buddha or whoever they worshipped.
I think most Indian cultures are either Buddhist or there's actually a pretty big Islamic community, and there's also Hinduism is like the biggest one, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like, there's like hundreds and millions of gods. And
I know. There's like a god of like grass droppings or something. It's like, okay, settle down.
Grass droppings? What does that even mean?
I don't know. There's a god for it. I'm just saying, like, everything has a god. If even this canister of end dust, which is a can of air to dust down your laptop, there's a god for that.
Yeah.
Even a god for this little red nozzle right here that shoots the air, that channels it.
There's a god in everything.
There's a god in everything.
Everything is a god.
Yep. Anyways, Lilat also began praying in front of trees and offering food to small animals. Sounds a little like Hinduism. Isn't that peace?
I don't think Hinduism I don't think they do sacrifices. Is that what you said? Sacrificing small animals?
No, he began offering food to small animals.
Oh yeah.
He's in the back, Dad's in the back sacrificing a squirrel he caught.
I mean, I don't know. That's what I thought you said. But yeah, there's definitely like Hinduism. They've got like the Temple of Rats.
Yeah.
And the cows are sacred and
is that Hindu?
Yeah, that's Hinduism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oof, I love cheeseburgers too much. Not this guy. The family began praying. They would pray for 30 minutes every single day. Lilat became the leader of the household. He had convinced himself and the rest of the family that he was the reincarnation of his father and would lead them to salvation. What?
Just keep going.
All right.
Ridiculous.
He even took on his father's traits, controlling the family with with his word was law. You know, he would order them to keep their practices safe from everyone, even extended families. So he kind of forced the rest of his family to become kind of introverts in a certain way.
Goodness, this guy's crazy.
Yep. He's cray-cray in a bad way. Yeah, like I said, the family became introverted and withdrawn. Despite this, their financial situation improved and their sources of income expanded. They went from having 1 to 3 businesses. They had a plywood store, they had a grocery store, and they had a commercial business that was being set up at the time.
Huh.
Life.
And it was like different members of the family that were just starting these businesses, or what?
It was the father controlling everything. It was, well, no, I'm sorry. The father through the son. It was Lot who had taken over the family. He was just like, I will lead y'all.
Right, yeah.
And so he started the plywood, and he's like, oh, well, let's do a grocery store now. And then he's like, all right, let's do a small business. But I think it was the whole family was working together, you know.
Yeah.
And they became introverted, finally. It went from... Okay. Lot believed all the success was due to his father passing on advice spiritually to him. Sadly, the final instructions would turn out to be the most deadly. Good people. Other family diaries spoke of financial troubles.
So wait. Final instructions. What do you mean? In his diary, there was final instructions.
Mm-hmm.
In Lot's diary.
In the Lot's diary. And
but they were like, okay, you'll get to that.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Calm down, baby bird.
No, but you can't just say that and then like start talking about something else. And
I can and
wait.
I will. I am endowed with free will. I will do whatever I want.
Or so you believe.
This is my show. All right. Anyways, so the police also went over other family diaries and trying to piece together some of this craziness.
Yeah.
All right. So the son thinks he's the reincarnation of the father. Other family diaries spoke of financial troubles, Lot, and how Lot was their savior. The first mention of Bhopal, which is the father in Lot's diary, was made on September 7th of 2007, which is after he died. He didn't really mention his father in his diary until after he passed away, like this day. Where he asked the family to keep a black and white photo in front of them and remember him. That's all that he asked of them.
Yeah.
And many entries were strict instructions written in harsh or authoritative tones. He also wrote down like his eating habits, financial activity, and day-to-day chores. And then the police discovered entries relating to a ritual to be performed on June 30th of 2018, almost 11 years to the day of Bhopal's death. 11. Again. Goodness. Pizza made me very belchy. Lot spoke of the human body as a temporary plane of existence, and that you could overcome fear by covering your mouth, your eyes, and your mouth. Which is how they were hung.
Okay.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Think about when you're a kid, like,
yeah, no, you definitely, yeah. Well, that's like, it's stopping the point of entry, for the scary thing. Like your eyes and your ears are like, where you're like.
That's a point of entry.
It's stopping the, the thing that's scaring you. As a kid, you think if I close my eyes or if I close my ears, then it just disappears.
No, yeah, you're totally right.
You know what I mean?
That's how you conquer fear. The minds of a
You're
child.
just sick. You just have a sick mind. You're like, point of entry. What do you mean by that? Hint, hint, wink, wink. Dot, dot, dot.
You gotta pay the troll toll to get into this boy's hole. You gotta pay the toll troll to get in. Sorry, all right. Back on it. All right, so he's talking about his human body's temporary existence, you know.
Yeah.
Another entry describes how the hands and legs were to be tied, and how Bebe, grandma, could lie down in a separate room due to the fact that she couldn't stand for long. So he's like writing out.
This is crazy.
He's writing out all the instructions of how to do it. 11 people in the house. There were. So you have the mother, which is the grandmother who had passed away.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have the whole list of the family.
Are you going to see photos?
Yeah, there's some photos. There's the mother, who was Nirani Devi. She was 77. There was the son and his wife. The son was 50, and his wife, the son, Bhuvnesh and Savita. They were there, and they had their 3 kids, Menu of 23, Netu of 25, and Dharav of 15. Then there was Lalit of 45, and his wife, Tina. Are you kidding me? Tina? She was 42, and they had their son, Shivam. Good Lord. They can't have regular names. Anyways, that was terrible.
I'm sure Tina is like short for something else.
Sure. And then the other daughter, which is Patriba of 57, she was there with her daughter. All right. Priyanka? Priyanka of age 33. That was the entire household right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Then those are all the people that died.
Those are all the people that
from
died.
The age of 15 to... Wait, how old was...
Grandma was 77.
And the Priyanka, how old was she? She younger than 15?
No. Priyanka.
The lady's daughter?
The mother's daughter?
No, the bottom right one.
Oh, Priyanka, she was 33.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, from 15 to 77.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, keep going.
No. Ask your question real quick.
Well, I'm like, okay, so everyone in that family is keeping a diary.
Mm-hmm. Even a 15-year-old.
Yeah. And, like, do the time spans of the diaries, like, correspond at all?
I mean, so the diaries were kept 11 years, so I'm guessing after their father passed away, that's when they all started keeping diaries. They all kind of started about the same time.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's just like anyone else in your family. Like, this son wrote about this daughter wrote about this, And what's even crazier are their entries talked of the future. The 33-year-old, she talked of getting married. She was going to get married at the end of the month or end of the year.
Yeah.
Others were like, hey, we got a cricket game in a couple of days that we're going to go to.
I think that, like, I mean, I'm sure there's more to the story, but I think he, like, does any of their other diaries talk about this, like, plan?
No, none of the other diaries really mention this plan that he had at all.
Do they mention Lalat being weird or whatever his name is?
Well, they all believed that was their father. They really believed it? They really believed that was their father and grandfather reincarnated. Which is why at the funeral they were like, Father has returned.
When he started talking, it's so
weird. Yeah. Yeah, it's super creepy.
What a perfect storm of like superstition and like mind games to get people. But I still don't think that they like willfully did it.
Um, a lot of people think that one theory is that it wasn't actually the father. It was like a demon or a prankster spirit that tricked them into thinking that he was channeling his father, and which caused them. There's a lot of superstition behind 11. There was.
No, I think this guy's crazy. I think he has a mental breakdown when he's like assaulted, and then his dad dies, and he goes nuts.
Well, imagine that.
Can't
like
talk.
Yeah.
Completely mute. He's like so like messed up, and then his like way of getting out of it is like just taking on his dad's persona and just like continuing because like it gave him a sense of like power and control and right. I mean, he could just like.
I mean, honestly, that kind of makes sense. Imagine that terrible thing happens to you.
Yeah.
But then again, your father is there, and he's just like, do exactly what I say, how I say. And when he dies, you're lost direction.
Yeah, you're just completely lost. And if you're superstitious enough and you believe that, like your body can be inhabited by your ancestors or whatever, you can be like, whatever, then it could be very, very comforting to him to be like, I've been, possessed by the spirit of my father, and now I'm going to like take over the family, and it's going to give me all this power and courage to like do all these things because I like am imbued with the power of my father.
I don't doubt that he had a dream about his father coming.
No, I don't either. I'm sure he did, but I'm just saying like that's not what really happened. He just like he was psychotic.
He was embodied.
Yeah, and he was just like.
It was all 100% mental, and he was just like.
But the crazy thing is that the whole family believed it. Like he was obviously convincing enough that he was able to. I mean, and also they were superstitious enough.
I mean, imagine like you're the youngest child of your family, this like mute, terrified kid, dude. This is like. This could be a good Guillermo. This is like a Guillermo del Toro movie. They're like silent protagonists who's just like this weak-willed, can't do anything, all of a sudden takes charge after the family is thrown into distraught. I think everything was so bad that they were willing to believe anything.
Yeah, I think it was all just like coping and
So yeah, that some people say, like I told you before, it was a demon messing with them. But there's also the superstition around the number 11. It comes up a lot. There's 11 people, 11 diaries for 11 years after the father passed away. Not only that, there are 11 iron bars above the entryway of the house. And on the side of the house, there are 11 pipes which didn't serve any purpose whatsoever and were arranged in a similar fashion to how the family was found. There were 7 bent pipes that a lot of people believe represents the 7 women of the household. And there were 4 straight pipes representing the men. And there was 1 bent pipe all off on its own. They said that represents the grandmother off on her own in her own room. When these were installed a few months before this all happened by Lilot, he hired someone to come do it, and they were like, well, what do you want these for? He's like, oh, it's for, circulation. He said, well, you'd probably do a lot better if you put a window in. He's like, no, I want these pipes to be put in. But they serve no purpose whatsoever other than just being pipes stuck to the side of the wall.
So do you think he was like using it to spy on the family? He's like, he was the one keeping all 11 journals, and he's like listening through the tubes at everyone's like.
I don't think so, because if that were it, unless he's the kind of crazy that can change his handwriting style.
Yeah, because all of them seem to be like legit.
They seem to be a legit family members, And they said the tone of writing and all that was another thing. So like I said, whenever it seemed like the father took over, even his writing style changed.
Yeah, I mean that can happen if you go crazy. Like
Yeah.
psychotic break.
It was suggested that Lilot acted alone in this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, uh,
That's
I
kind of what I
think
think happened. Go ahead.
there were two of them. I think the two youngest men in the family, when they were found, their feet were actually touching the ground, making people think either they were the last to hang themselves or they could have possibly been tranquilized and then hung up. And he's just like, man, they're already close enough to death.
Is there like a did they have an enemy? Like, is there someone that, like, a competitor? Like, it's not like they had a monopoly on some business or something.
It was just a simple little family, had a simple little store that kind of kept to themselves. They were,
I mean, this
well-known.
Lalot character seems really weird. And I mean, I think that it's, like we were talking earlier, I think it's possible that he could have, like, killed everyone, basically, and then hung himself. But who was the other guy that you're saying his, like, feet were dragging the floor or whatever?
So there, yeah, like I said, what if he had convinced the two youngest members of the family, the two youngest men, to help him out in this?
Yeah.
To be like, hey, go strangle
Was
grandma.
in his diary, did he say, like, what the goal was? Like, what happens when they all kill themselves? Like, what's the...
I
You know
have
what I mean?
his
Like,
last.
it sounds like a
diary
ritual
entry.
of some kind. But what? Like,
I'm gonna read to you his
is
last.
is it gonna be
diary
like?
entry.
Okay.
Okay. His final notes. At the last moment and during the final fulfillment of my final wish, the sky will move, the earth will tremble. Do not panic at that moment. Chant more vigorously. I will come and bring you down. I will also help you bring down the others.
So creepy. I will come and help bring you down.
To hell.
Yeah.
Almost like, hey, it's the only thing I can think in my head is like he's the son, the one orchestrating all this is like, all right, I'm gonna hang myself now. We're all doing. It was like a ritual that they probably wouldn't have died from, but they all did. And he's like, the whole point is they all go up, and then the son goes last, and the father is supposed to come help unhook the son from whatever he's being hung.
Like the spirit is supposed to come.
Is
and
he
set
gonna?
them
That's
free
the
or
question.
something?
Is he pulling them up? A lot of people believe that if it was the spirit of their father, he wanted the rest of his family to join him in heaven. There was another thing.
No, this guy was just great. He just went crazy.
Okay, so another thing that people thought was SPD, shared psychotic disorder, which is where one person has like this crazy thought like, oh, I'm the reincarnation of this, and it's kind of like what happened at Jonestown, which he was just so calm and convincing about that everyone just sort of followed it. And they were at a weakened state where of course they would. They're like, oh, the only way we can survive is with Father, so yes, Father has come to save us.
Right, yeah, no, I definitely think, and it sounds like he was the kind of like super strong personality that just kept everything exactly how he wanted it. And I think that once he died, all of them didn't know what to do. And then when Lalot just kind of like stepped in line and like created this whole story, it was probably reassuring to them because they didn't know what to do with their own freedom. And
That's
they
the
like
family.
something. What did I do? I hit something. Sorry.
You son of a church.
I don't know how to work your Samsung. Sorry.
There you go. That's the family right there.
Yeah.
And Lalot is that scrawny little weak guy.
Yeah. That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all so old. Like, not old, but they're like, I don't know. Just seems like.
Yeah.
So, okay, is there anything else? Is that the end of the story? So,
So yeah, that's it. Like, still to this day, nobody knows what happened, like why they did it. Like,
so no one said anything like in their diaries about a lot being weird, or did
no,
they say
everybody
anything
just
about like how
everybody
glad
just
they
was
were
like,
that their father's spirit was back, or
of
like,
course, that's what they all said. Like, one of the entries from the kids, it talked about yeah, I said it earlier. They said how their financial problems were terrible,
right?
but then once the lot took control of everything,
Yeah,
everything got so much better.
that's so weird. So he basically was like making them like an act of faith, basically, right? So like do this, like the
Follow my word,
yeah,
and we
and
will be
then
successful.
yeah, and then I'll come and help you down, and I'll help all the others down, and everyone will be fine. But you have to like make this leap of faith to like
It's just like that scene in
seal
Aladdin.
the.
Do you trust me? Adam puts out his hand, and Jasmine's like, "Hell yeah, get me on that carpet, bitch."
That's crazy. I mean, I think that there's two possibilities. The fact that they were like making breakfast, or they were like preparing breakfast, makes me think that
No one else knew.
I don't think anyone else knew. I think that I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
I think that he could have probably. Did they all die from like all the people that were hanging?
Asphyxiation.
They died from hanging.
Yeah.
Because asphyxiation is not hanging.
Oh, it's not. Well, that's choking, right?
No, like can't you like
choking, like not being able to breathe.
yeah, which can be
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Well, but can't you also like be asphyxiated by like being like a
Smothered?
pillow? Yeah, a pillow.
Yeah,
being
just
put over your
choking.
head? Yeah.
Choking, not breathing.
Yeah. So it's possible that some of them could have been killed, or all of them could have been killed.
Well, that's the thing. They said no one had any signs of struggle.
Yeah.
The only one who actually seemed to have been murdered was Grandma. Bebe.
Yeah.
Bebe was.
But she also was the only one that wasn't hanging. So if there's strangulation marks, but then you're hung from a. I mean, I don't know why you'd go through all that, especially if you're gonna kill
that's why they
yourself
said
afterwards.
that's what was so weird. I think, which is why they brought up, what if the two younger sons? He's like, hey, you need to go help Grandma. You guys can't see it, but I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
The two like maybe the two younger ones, they were just like, all right, let's go help Grandma.
But he didn't. He didn't say anything about like sharing his plan with anyone. I kind of think it was just him. I think he
just said they were going to do a ritual.
And what year is this? 2007? Or when did they die?
They were all discovered in 2018.
Oh, this is like last year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, I mean, there's not a good option. And either in my mind, it's like he was successful at creating a mass delusion for them, and they all believed his story, and he like basically Jonestowned it and convinced them all to like take this leap of faith with him to like bring their father back from the dead.
No, that's what's weird. I think he's had it set up like, hey, this is a ritual. Father told me to do this, and once this ritual's done, we'll just go back to our normal day. It's like, hey, real quick, guys, hey, before we get started on breakfast, let's have a little prayer. Come on into the room.
Yeah, but I just can't imagine a bunch of people in their 40s and 50s being like, oh, okay, let me put that noose around my neck now. Yeah, go ahead and put that like cloth over my face.
That's why this is so weird, because they were all writing in their diaries like, I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to play the game tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really think that he, and the the fact that you're talking about the younger two, that they were like their feet were dragging the ground. What if they were killed before they were even?
Well, that's what they were thinking. They were thinking that maybe they were tranquilized or something, so that he could tie them all up and hang them up, and they wouldn't try to stand up and save
and then
himself.
He killed himself.
And then he was the last one to. He looked like a spindly enough guy to where he could do that thing that I told you about. Tie his hands up, and then put it through, and then, all right, jump off the stool.
I mean, that seems like a more just given the state of the house when things are happening, and that no one else mentioned it. I think that it makes more sense that he could have tranquilized everyone, even in the middle of the night. Who knows? Like, did it say how long they had been dead?
It doesn't say, but that's another thing. Like, why?
But if they were like getting things out for breakfast, right?
Exactly. But they also were getting all the stools and ropes and everything to do all this the night before. They were helping with this ritual that he was going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, if they were, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but if they were dumb enough to believe that this was actually their father reincarnated, or like,
obviously
inhabiting their, the new patriarch or whatever, I don't think they necessarily have to know the whole plan to get all that stuff. Like, what if you said they were going to? I don't know. It's weird.
No,
it's very weird.
This question is too hard for us to figure out, because we're the kind of people that's like, okay, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
We're asking questions while things are going down. But like they've said before, this was a household where what he said was law. Do not question him.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like he could have just easily convinced them to do it, and they didn't know what the reason was, and he was like, I'll tell you tomorrow. Just don't question me. Just do it.
Yeah.
And then he was clearly cray, like a special kind of crazy. And it was like you can see this like slow devolution of his like mental state, and like, I don't know. I think he did it. I mean,
of course, that's right. I believe that too. But the big question is like, how? I mean, what we're still trying to figure out is how was it done? How are these people all just like going along? Like, okay,
and I mean,
little
since
bro.
It was last year, they didn't. Did they test the bodies for tranquilizers and like any kind of?
I didn't get that. I don't think they found anything else really. It didn't say anything else. It's just still to this day nobody knows.
Huh.
These are all like the tranquilizers. Like, it's all just a theory for those two kids.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so weird. And it's weird that it was like, I mean, he was the one that created the whole 11 thing, right? So he's like, he has a psychotic break. He's creating all these connections and doing all these things in his mind that aren't real. But so like some
of the stuff was there from the beginning. I mean, the 11 Diaries, like, he didn't really start that. It's like their father passed away. I think
the father passed away in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then that's just so weird to me that that's when all the diaries started. Like, why did everyone start keeping a diary? Was it because he told them to? Like, he made them all keep a diary?
Yeah.
Or something?
Nobody knows.
So weird.
Just started off, Dear Diary, Day 1, Papa's back. Who knew little brother would make for a perfect vessel for Papa?
That's weird. It's like Hereditary. It's like, Paimon! Hail Paimon!
Exactly. This is like some H.P. Lovecraft
But
shit.
I personally don't think there's any way that it was like a...
supernatural.
I think that it's really comforting to say, oh, that was supernatural. He was possessed by a demon.
It's not comforting at all. That means there's powers out there that could take over us at any moment.
Well, yeah, but
it's giving an answer. It's an answer.
And isn't it better to have an external thing to fear that is coming over and going to like take over your body than to literally be terrified that your flesh and blood while you're sleeping is going to tranquilize you and then hang you up and kill all other 10 members of your family? Like, that's the real demon.
Of course,
that's
the most powerful fear is the fear of the unknown. H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's what all fear is.
So you're right. Yeah, you're right. I think that's why they would just, all right, let's just slap a bow on this. Like, his father came back, took over him, and there you go.
He got demon possessed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had some bad curry and didn't set right. And sent him on an 11-year crazy spree. What if he got mad cow?
Is it? Don't you have to eat meat to have mad cow disease?
We don't know what religion they were, so he might have had some mad cow.
No,
they raised cows. We don't know what they did with them. Or his father did.
Yeah, maybe it was like no. I just think he went crazy. I think he had a psychotic break and he went crazy and he murdered his family. And
you just see that one part of his brain just.
I'm still just like, I want to know, like, surely during the autopsy reports there was something like they didn't find any tranquilizers in their blood system, or like,
I didn't find anything on that.
And they couldn't find like the hand size of the person that strangled the grandma. Like, did that, was it a hand size of like a 15-year-old or a 40-year-old man? Like, I need more details. I need to know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't go. I don't think they were she was strangled with her hand. I think she was just like, assassin style.
Like from behind,
took the
like
bed sheet,
choker. Oh yeah.
Yep. Sleeper hold.
Yeah.
Night night, Grandma. See you on the other side.
It's creepy. Yeah.
Do you want a hard candy?
What?
It's the last thing she said.
Why would she say that?
Grandmas have hard candy. Your grandma.
What are you talking about? Because
she's old. She's giving her son a treat. She's like, "You're a good kid. It's a good sleeper hold."
Okay. Well, I don't get the joke. Hard candy just
again.
Sounds like
Grandma's just like congratulating her son for strangling her well. I need humor to balance out this darkness.
That was just weird. This is just awkward.
There you go. We're laughing though. We're laughing. We don't know why, but we are. But all right. So what happened? We may never know. Who knows? I'll look into this a little bit more. But yeah, that's what
I need to know more about that. I'm gonna have to look into it. And I know that it like maybe there's not as much forensic like. And
it's 2018.
Yeah,
so
I feel like there should be like some coroner's reports or something that they can investigate further.
No, of course I would be interested to be like, what was Lilot's brain looking like? Did he have that little bump on the front that makes you go crazy?
What do you mean? Anytime there's any kind of frontal
damage, like maybe really... one of those piles of plywood conked him in the head enough to.
Yeah.
What is it? A bump the size of the head of a needle, the pin needle? Like, that's all the bump. Like, that's the only size it has to be. Like, something that small could send you off into a murderous rage.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
It was something that
just like if it's in the very specific right point, it could just.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that big. It's like the head of a needle.
Yeah.
It's like so minute and tiny, and still just murderous rage. Human brain. Well, we're all one step away from invoking our Father's spirit.
This was dark. This was a heavy episode.
I told you.
I mean, like, welcome to me. Yay.
Yeah. No, I wanted to show you something. I wanted to put your, hammering skills to work.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, yeah, I don't believe any of the superstition, but I think he was crazy, and they were probably just like willful delusion.
Could have been one of their 10,000 deities for Hinduism.
That's just weird. Yeah. Okay.
But all right. Well, that's it, everybody. Hope y'all enjoyed it. And we're going to try to get y'all episodes a little more regularly. We're probably going to do it about once every other week. But, please put up with us. Be patient. And we'll bring you some good stuff. Mama Bird is going to feed her babies.
That's creepy.
You love it.
Cheers.
Cheers.